Hello, my impatients. It is I, Andrew the Android Koloski here. I am live and I'm ready to perform for you. Or maybe I shouldn't say perform for you. Maybe I should say I'm ready to talk to all of you. How art thou? How art thou? So, what are my plans for the weekend? I don't really have very many plans for the weekend. I'm seeing a friend tomorrow, which should be fun. I'm going to get lunch with him. Other than that, though, I don't really have many plans for the weekend. You know what I mean? You feel me? You catch my drift, or am I being obtuse? I often wonder if certain people intentionally hurt me. And I'm not just talking about, the bullies in my childhood, which obviously they did. I'm talking more about friends, family, my parents. I often wonder if they were monsters behind their masks who had nefarious intentions. I often wonder if, they secretly were looking to hurt me. At least some of them. I'm not saying all of them. I'm saying maybe there were some people who genuinely had the best of intentions. I mean, obviously, you always, like my father. Let's take my father, for example. Obviously, he'll always get on my nerves, and I'll get on his nerves. And, having a conversation with him, I want to metaphorically tear my hair out. But his intentions were always to see me succeed and to be happy. But I often wonder if my mother and stepfather didn't have the same good intent. But they say, look, they provide you with an apartment, they feed you dinner. If they had nefarious intentions, why would they do that, Somebody says, your father, Poppy, is a good man. He's been sick for a while now, so respect Poppy. He's a good man with good intentions. Maybe my stepfather didn't have good intentions. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Let's change the topic here. So I was. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. So what do you think, Horn Dog? What do you think? Do you think I was betrayed by people, or do you think this is psychosis and delusions talking? Do you think this is persecutory delusions? Okay, so Horn Dog wants to know where these thoughts come from. I guess they're ideas of reference. I was watching TikTok, and a lot of mental health videos got recommended to me. And they were talking about people who experience betrayal trauma. They were talking about people who experience narcissistic abuse. And I very much related to the videos, and I applied what they were talking about to my life. And maybe it's not genuinely true for me, even though it's true for some people. I mean, I was watching mental health videos, and maybe I'm projecting, these people's life stories onto my life, or somebody says, yeah, it's delusions for sure, big dog. Yeah, stop watching these mental health TikTok videos. It's better you go back to the true crime stories about the people who were kept in basements for like 50 years. At least those don't really trigger delusions, Yeah, I think the TikTok mental health videos were triggering delusions, to be honest. Somebody says, let's say hypothetically speaking, you were like that guy who kept his daughter in the basement and tortured her. What would you do with your first day of freedom? Well, I think that's very similar to what do you do when you get released from the hospital after a week or two? you just go back to, you know, life, posting on the computer. I mean, that's a really satisfying feeling. Anybody ever be in the anybody has anybody ever been in the hospital or someplace like that where you're kind of imprisoned and then you get discharged after a week or two? That's really like the biggest, oh, thank God I'm out of that hellhole and I'm back to normal life, you know. I mean, anybody ever experienced that. So this is, what did you do when you got out of the psych ward? Oh, I mean, you went, but you typically go back to life as usual, but you typically wash your clothes, take a shower. I think I had tangerine beef from Kwang Ming. You kind of reward yourself for getting out of there. I mean, I don't know if you should reward yourself for having been in there, but it is hell being in there, really. AC says, "Hope you have a nice day, Andrew." Thank you. I appreciate that. I know my mother asked me, "Are you going to go to Paradise Studios and do comedy tonight?" Well, to be honest with you, I've kind of given up on that, and I don't think I'm very much funny anymore. I don't think I really even like comedy anymore. So somebody says, "Happy Friday." YouTube channel says, "Happy Friday." Thank you, YouTube channel. Somebody asks, "How's the Cougar Life app treating you? Is a 70-year-old woman still interested?" That's an interesting question. To be honest with you, it seems like most of the people on there, even though I paid for a fucking membership, are bots, which is you know unfortunate. It seems like they're all scammers and bots. I don't know. It doesn't seem like anybody really is real, but we'll say somebody says, "Don't give up on your dreams, big dog. Maybe you'll meet a 70-year-old cougar, a 70-year-old granny. Don't give up on your dreams. It can happen. You can meet a wealthy cougar." Somebody says, "Don't give them your information or money because it's probably somebody from, let's say, a third world country or like India who wants to dupe you out of money, or Russia or wherever." A horn dog asks, "Does it bother you they're the same age as your mother?" I mean, let's put it this way: I haven't met any of them yet. I mean, any of the cougars or grannies. So, I mean, I, I haven't gone on a date yet. So, you know what I mean? You feel me? You. Somebody says, "Are you attracted to old women or just settling because you're desperate?" That's a good question. I think a little from column A, a little from column B. I think I'm attracted to older women, but also I'm settling because nobody's shown romantic interest in me in years. So a little from column A, a little from column B. Somebody says, "What if one of them is your mother's friend or older than your mother?" Well, no, my mother has no friends, so I don't have to worry about that. What if she's older than my mother? I don't know. Somebody says, "Do you want this woman to take care of you? Is that why you go for older?" Yeah, I know they say obviously in life you have to be independent. You need to be self sufficient. Even an older granny, doesn't want to take care of you. You know what I mean? Even an older granny doesn't want to take care of you. Should I call her a cougar or a granny? I don't know. Should I call them cougars or grannies? I'm not really sure. I guess cougar's more respectful. Yeah, I mean, ultimately, the best way to be in life is independent, self-sufficient, and taking care of yourself. Taking care of yourself. You know, and nobody's gonna love you like your mother loves you. Nobody's gonna take care of you like your mother, because you know that's just life. That's just life. Somebody says, "Have you ever tried going to a bar around Massapequa to meet women your age?" Yeah, I'm extremely socially awkward. I could try that. I could try to go to some sports bar and try to meet some women tonight. I mean, it's certainly an idea. Some people say you're probably better equipped to date a woman who's in their 20s, 30s, or 40s, not a cougar or a granny. But I mean, in the defense of the cougars and grannies, it seems like they are living a life of luxury with millions or billions of dollars. Somehow, I don't think a woman who's living in the suburbs has millions or billions of dollars. But they say, so he says, have you ever tried NAMI or Fountain House? Yeah, I go to NAMI. I actually went to NAMI this week. I haven't gone to the Fountain House in years. I should go back there because I really had a good time when I was there. I had a good time at the Fountain House. I met some friends. I explored New York City, went to art galleries, ate at some nice restaurants, walked at some parks. It would be nice to go back to the Fountain House, but there might be some people there that don't want to see me, so. Horn Dog says, you might find a woman on your level, a schizophrenic who's in her 30s. That'd be nice. That'd be the dream. Meeting a schizophrenic in her 30s is the dream. A sexy schizophrenic lady, the sexiest mental patient lady. The sexiest mental patient woman there is. How many times am I going to repeat the joke? The sexiest woman from the psych ward. Someone says, dream big, Andrew. Dream big. All right. Somebody says, your Harley Quinn is out there. Gigi, or, says, dream big, little winky boy. Yeah, some people say my, is inadequate. Some people say my, I should be ashamed of. They say it's the size of a ping pong ball. I'm like, hey, it gets much bigger. It's like Seinfeld. It's shrinkage. People see me when I, when it's cold or I get into the pool. Like, they're like, oh, Andrew's inadequate. Andrew's microscopic. No, it gets much bigger. Horn Dog says, yeah, I don't know. He doesn't typically say that. I think he said it like once or twice. I mean, somebody says, Dale saying, oh, bundle up your freezer, little winky off. I mean, he doesn't say it often. It was just one isolated example of that in 2017. And I complained to my mother, father, and stepfather, and nobody really took me seriously. Like, oh, it's just an expression. Everybody says you'll freeze your little winky off. I'm like, but that means you freeze your tiny penis off, Let's see if I can find the email. People like when I go back to the emails. It's like Hillary Clinton in the emails. It's like Hillary Clinton in the emails. Delete the emails, Andrew. Okay, here we go. Little Winky. February 7th, 2017. So I said, my psychiatric medication significantly shrinks my penis. It now looks tiny, although it's not. Sad face. A few days ago, I was naked. No one was home, and I was doing the wash, taking off my sweaty clothes after the gym. Just then, my stepdad came in the front door. I scrambled for him not to see, but cut my foot open in the process. I'm fairly certain he got a glimpse of my penis. Fast forward a few days. My mom asked me to bring in the groceries, as she just returned from the supermarket. My stepdad jokingly said something like, "Bundle up. You don't want to freeze your little winky off." Little winky meaning little penis. I kept thinking about it. It really bothered me. Not only am I frustrated and insecure about what the medicine is doing to my penis, my stepdad's comments made me feel inadequate. Since it bothered me so much, I decided to tell my mom and stepdad. It was hard bringing it up without sounding silly, but I did. He didn't apologize and acted like what I was saying was ridiculous. He said it's just a saying. His mom used to say it to him. Lots of people say it. I guess he didn't mean anything by it. My father said on February 7th, 2017, "Andy, you have to lighten up, please. The other day you thought I used a term that was off color. Enjoy life. You are driving away the people that care about you." I said on February 7th, 2017, honestly, I have no idea what my dad is talking about. It's like he totally doesn't get me or my situation, and he doesn't care to. He just gives armchair computer advice. Who he's describing isn't me. So that's the little winky email. That's the little winky email. It's like Hillary Clinton and nefarious emails. Someone says it's the size of a ping pong ball. Mirror says Dale wasn't wrong. Kylie, go potty. I mean, I know it's like it's just an express. Whatever. It's not a big deal. It's just. Somebody says a shriveling penis is a side effect of the psychiatric medications. I don't know. Maybe it definitely affects sexual function. The psychiatric medications. I don't know if it shrivels your penis. Maybe it does. It definitely makes you unable to perform when you get to the point of intimacy. I don't know if it like shrinks your penis. Somebody says your you know what is already so small I can't shrivel up anymore. Hey, what are you gonna do? Don't criticize me. Anybody? Okay, this is kind of a funny story. Anybody ever go to a gym locker room and there's a lot of naked men in the gym locker room because they're getting changed into their bathing suits or gym clothes, and you're around a lot of men with gigantic penises, usually elderly men, but there's a lot. But you, in comparison to everybody in the locker room, have like this tiny, itsy bitsy microscopic penis, and you're looking around. Everybody's got a gigantic penis, and you got this small, tiny penis. Has anybody ever experienced that? I know I have. Somebody says, "Yeah, no. Believe it or not, you go to the recreational centers and the gym locker rooms. There's a lot of naked people that walk around. Um, they're usually elderly men who go into the steam room and showers, and yeah, I always felt like my penis was small in comparison to everybody else in the gym locker room." Horn Dog says, "Nah, nobody can relate to that. All of us in here have giant penises. Unfortunately, Andrew, you just got a tiny one." Oh, well, what are you going to do? Mirror says, "Your penis is small compared to everybody else." Sorry, Andrew. Well, what are you going to do? I guess I got got a small penis. I guess I got a teeny penis. What are you gonna do? I'm not really concerned. I'm a hot guy. Maybe I could find a petite woman who's like 5'3", who is tiny herself. So some people ask, "Have you ever measured yourself?" I think I got a solid 5 inches. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it gets much bigger, So people need to Mirrors is 5 inches? No, absolutely not. Mirror says, "Do you think it could satisfy a woman?" Well, I'm sure there's petite women out there who, it can satisfy. Yeah, yeah. So somebody says of age, of course. Yeah, alive, of age, consenting, non-biologically related, and so on. That just goes without saying. So he says, being petite has nothing to do with anything. I was watching this Asian social media model, and she says, she hides her face. I don't know who she is, but she says how she prefers, men with, tiny, penises. So some women like it, and she's really attractive. She's a really petite Asian woman, and that's what she says. She says she likes men with tiny penises. So anything bigger than like 5 inches is just too big. Some ladies like find it cute. Some ladies find tiny penises cute. Mirror says, "Yes, but you're on the verge of a micro penis." All right. She probably means like 5 or 6 inches. Gigi says, "No, women don't find tiny penises cute. Catch it, check it, change it." Well, let's change the subject from my genitals. I don't want to talk about my genitals any longer. So did you see Triple H of the WWE met with Donald Trump? Does that interest anybody? I know it might interest Rusty. Something that I found interesting about that, you're used to seeing Triple H in a powerful kind of demeanor, a powerful kind of position. He's used to being large and in charge and the person everybody in the industry kind of cowers to. The alpha male, he's a powerful person. But around the president of the United States of America, Donald Trump, he was intimidated. He was very much intimidated. He was trying to say all the right things. He was scared of the president, because I guess he wanted that fitness job. So it's kind of interesting and contrasting to see somebody who's large, in charge, aggressive, domineering, you get intimidated by somebody. I feel like Donald Trump could be a very intimidating person. I mean, anytime you're around the president, that could be intimidating. And that's interesting, right? Mirror says, "It doesn't seem like Triple H was scared or intimidated at all. It sounds like you're projecting." CA says, "Stormy Daniels was intimidated." I'm like, all right. I mean, some people are intimidated by the president. I mean, imagine you were getting invited to the White House. Would you be like, would you be large and in charge? I don't think so. I mean, I think he was intimidated by Donald Trump. You don't think so? I think he was intimidated. I would be. I mean, if I met Donald Trump, I'd be fucking shaking in my boots. I mean, Wouldn't you? I mean, right? Somebody says wrestling is not a thing anymore. You're stuck in the past. Get over it before I pile drive you into next week. All right, well, let's talk about getting. Somebody says Trump is unpredictable and powerful. That's true. I would be intimidated meeting Donald Trump. Wouldn't you? I mean, he's scary. He's a little scary, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. You don't want your president to be a pushover. You don't want a president that you could aggressively walk all over. But I think Trump is scary. I'd be intimidated by him. Muir says no. Trump is not scary. Okay, if you say so. Trump is not scary. I think if you got into a room with Trump and JD Vance was in the room and you were in the White House, I think you'd be shaking in your boots. You'd have butterflies in your stomach. At least I would. I mean, sometimes I get like that before a job interview. I mean, imagine being in the White House. That'd be fucking terrifying. I'd be like, I would try to say the right things. I would shake. It would be scary. I mean, right? I mean, you all are completely immune to fear and anxiety. Mirror says, that's you. You're projecting. We all wouldn't be intimidated. We would go in there with complete confidence, asserting our dominance over Trump. We would give the aggressive handshake to him. Okay, if you say so. Somebody wants me to sing Everclear. I will buy you a new life. Maybe not right this second. Maybe tomorrow. Yeah, that's what you got to do in politics. You got to go for the aggressive handshake and completely try to take the person's hand off. Somebody wants me to do, I will buy you a new life where your flowers can grow. Somebody wants me to do, I will. Cobras, I don't think this is the time or place to do I will buy you a new life. Somebody says, no, do a video, not live. Okay, fair enough, I will. Somebody says, cover the game. It's all about the game and how you play it. All about control and if you can take it. All about respect and if you can. Somebody says, sing the whole Everclear album while drinking Everclear. See how far you get. What is Everclear? I've never had Everclear before. What does that mean? Somebody says, blow some fireballs. What does that mean? What are you talking about? These people aren't making sense. La 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 la. Oh, somebody says Everclear is super high content alcohol. Yeah, that would probably be a bad idea for me. But maybe not. Somebody says it would hurt you very badly. Mirror says, when did you first realize you had I don't have genital warts. It's cysts or cystic acne. It's from hair and sweat. It's genetic. I don't know. It's not transmittable. It's not contagious. Let's stop talking about. We already exhausted the topic of my genitals. Let's not talk about my genitals anymore. Somebody says Everclear, the alcohol, would instantly dry your throat. Ooh. Somebody says, what is something you want most in life? Oh, that's a very interesting question and a very good question, too. Well, obviously independence and a romantic partner and a girlfriend and money. But let's say you take those things out of the equation. I know some people were saying, "I want a home," or "I want an island," but let's take that out of the equation. I would like to get a really expensive camera because I create a lot of social media content and I perform a lot on camera. And I think it would be kind of cool to get a really nice DSLR. Some people say, "What do you drink when you drink alcohol?" I actually, lately I've been going to Coors Light. Some people said, "Stop drinking the Fosters, stop drinking, you know, and go to light beer because it's less calories." So I've been drinking Coors Light. I could get the Bud Lights, but somebody said, no, don't. Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! What was that? Why is that sound getting on there? Oh no! I hope that doesn't get me a copyright strike. Did anybody hear any audio? I don't even know what I played. I was browsing Twitter. Somebody says, Gigi says Andrew has a hard life ahead of him. Somebody says, nope, nope, didn't hear anything. So he says, I think you're okay. Mirror says, I reported you. Yeah, I don't even know what I played. Hopefully it wasn't like spicy content. Because that will really get me a copyright strike. Mirror says, I heard some moaning. I think it was like one of these like drug advertisements for Abilify. Like, oh, try Abilify. One of the side effects is death. One of the side effects is cancer. I think that's what it was. I was browsing X, formerly Twitter, and I think I clicked with the drug ad. But I don't really know exactly what played. Somebody says, what is your mother referring to when she accuses you of nasty stares? Can you show us? Well, she'll say something like, Andrew, I can't think of things. That's the reason I'm breathing heavily. I'll stare at her and my father like this. She says, you're giving nasty stares, Andrew. I don't know. That was my best nasty stares impression. Somebody says, that was good. I'd be intimidated. Yeah, you would be intimidated if I gave a nasty stare. Somebody says, that's the state of someone who means harm stare. I don't know if that's necessarily true. It's definitely a nasty stare. It's definitely a stare of somebody who's like, fuck you. You're being mean to me. It's definitely an unpleasant, stare. I don't think it's the stare of somebody who's gonna physically assault you, but it's definitely the stare of somebody who's angry at you. I mean, it's definitely an ugly stare, like a pissed off stare. But I don't know if it's not necessarily like the stare of somebody who's gonna harm somebody. You know, it's a nasty stare. So he says, "How often do you?" Well, I usually do that after they disrespect me or yell at me or do something that deserves a nasty stare. Usually, when they do something that pisses me off, I give them a nasty stare, as I should. What are you supposed to smile and give them a happy stare when they piss you off? No, you give them a nasty stare. So Mrs. is better than saying nasty things and getting into a loud argument. Oh yeah, that's exactly what my mother wants too. She wants the reaction. She wants you to say something. She wants it to escalate. It's best to get out of there, go for a walk. A lot of times what provokes the nasty stare is my mother's narcissistic baiting, and just don't react, don't engage, and just get the hell out of there. Splurge Lord says, man, you and your mom fight a lot. Yeah, it's true. Somebody says, does the nasty stare? No, usually the nasty stare is a response to my mother or stepfather being disrespectful to me in some way. Usually it's a reaction to their disrespect. I usually don't just give nasty stares for no reason. It's usually a reaction. And it's actually some people, like people have said, a nasty stare is better than cursing them out or punching a hole in the drywall. But, you know. But my mother gets angry if I give nasty stares to her. Like, I can't even give you a dirty look. I'm not even allowed to give you a dirty look. Somebody says, yeah, giving a nasty stare is much better than punching holes in the wall. What am I supposed to give you, like a pleasure look? Like, oh, thank you for being a bitch. You know, like, what am I supposed to do? So just don't react. Get out of there. Go for a walk. And don't engage. Don't react. The best reaction to narcissistic baiting and narcissistic abuse is no reaction. It's complete silence. Somebody says, I'm not, yeah, I mean, somebody says, get weights, lift some weights. Yeah, that's what I mean by going for the walk. Go to the gym, do a run, exercise, lift some weights. Yeah, get the frustration out. You know, get the frustration out. It's good for the mental health. You know, I agree. Everything in moderation. You don't want to exercise to the point of obsession, but yeah, the exercise really can help with, you know, getting your mind off narcissistic abuse. You know. Somebody says, honestly, you haven't had a breakdown since the Thanksgiving incident last year, and that's pretty good. That's a fair point. I rarely get complimented, but I think also I'm not really around my mother and stepfather all that much. But I think I have made progress, and I think I haven't been reacting, and I've been avoiding, and I've been doing the right things. So some people really should give me a pat on the back and compliment me, because I really have been doing pretty well lately in a lot of ways, at least in terms of reacting to my mother. Somebody says, "What's for dinner, Andrew?" I think I'm having pizza for dinner. Somebody says, a step in the right direction. You're making little progress all the time, Andrew. You're making little progress all the time. We're gonna have a pizza party. Yeah. Somebody says you can't skip the leg day. Oh no, my legs are jacked. I mean, actually, because of all the running I do, my legs are gigantic and my upper body is scrawny. So you know, I got like the perfect in shape lower body, gigantic legs, and my upper body is completely skinny. My legs are like really muscular. So show off the legs, get into your underpants and show off the fruits of your body. We want a fit check. Well, my mother might be bringing, I could do that, guys. But my mother might be bringing dinner over. She might be bringing pizza over any moment. And I don't want to be actually, I could be in my underpants if she brings pizza. I don't want to do that right now. I'll do, yeah, but why not? You know, if people want a fit check, I'll give you a fit check. One sec, guys. I'm going to get into my underpants. You know, don't worry. I don't want to do a wardrobe malfunction here, but okay. Here we go. One second, I gotta lift up the. Somebody says, "This is how I look in my underpants." This is how I look in my underpants. What do you think? Somebody says, roar. Yeah. Looking pretty hot, looking pretty sexy. Somebody says, looking good, buddy, looking good. All right, I'll put my clothes back on. Yeah. Putting my clothes back on, putting my clothes back on, putting my clothes back on. All right. So he says, good job, big dog. Good job. Peter says, all you got to do is upper body. No crap. You could get fit as fuck. You're looking really handsome, Andrew. Thank you. Thank you. I've been working out. I've been doing some running. All right. I guess on that note, should I hit the bricks? Should I hit the dusty trail? I think we've kind of run out of things to talk about. We had a good conversation with my inpatients, but I think Peter says, have a great weekend, Andrew. Somebody asks, what's your favorite pizza topping? That's a good question. In my childhood, I used to get onions on the pizza with my father, and we used to watch wrestling together. So we get like onion on the pizza. So I guess my response is onions. I like onion pizza. So he says, nice. Onions are great. Yeah, it's a good pizza topping, that's for sure. It was a nice bonding experience that stopped when I entered like middle school, but it was kind of cool at the time. You know, that was prior to the divorce or as the divorce was going on. Yeah, all right. All right. Somebody says, are you Gaga or Gigi asks, are you calling me an onion or is that a reference delusion? Well, to be fair, I think my mother does say things that have metaphorical double meanings to narcissistically bait me. I think she intentionally says things like, oh, I'm going to make vegetables with dinner to rile me up. But, I don't think it's entirely ideas of reference and predicate logic. But I hear what you're saying. Am I calling you an onion? No, I'm not. In your case, that's a reference delusion. In my mother's case, she's probably trying to trigger me. If all right. All right, guys. Should I peace out here? I think maybe I will. I think maybe I will because I'm kind of done. Unless you got some questions. Unless you got some questions for me. All right, adios, amigos and amigas.